Welcome to the workshop today. I really am excited to share this message with you guys. This has been one that has been kind of being built over the last few years, and it's a message that whenever I share it with people, it just is reconfirmed to me how important it is of creating an approach of transitioning into this plant-based lifestyle in a way that is sustainable. So that's really the name of the game today. I'm going to be sharing with you some things that are going to help you do that, because if we go all plant-based for just a short amount of time, we're going to get the results that we want for a short amount of time, right? So we want to create some sustainability and long-term success with this. So that's what we're talking about today. Of course, I'm Danielle, and I'm really, really happy that you're here. So I'm hoping that this resonates with you a little bit, that this message is one that will be helpful for you. And just to make sure, and we're going to use the chat box here. Does any of this sound familiar? As you've kind of gotten into plant-based nutrition, you've started maybe making some changes. Have you ever found any of these to be true, that you've struggled with kind of being on again, off again with it, or kind of really taking this all or nothing approach that's really common in our dieting culture, right? And it's really easy to take that over and apply that to plant-based lifestyle. Here's one that I hear a lot from people. They say, well, I know better, I just don't know why I'm not doing better. And they get really frustrated with themselves. They start to feel really overwhelmed because these are big changes, okay? Let's be honest, going plant-based, it's not easy, okay? I am not here to tell you that it's easy. In fact, I'm here to tell you how we can go about this in a way to make it more doable, because it can be super overwhelming at first. So another one that I see a lot is that people are just simply feeling really deprived and really miserable trying to eat this way. And all of those things are kind of red flags to us that what we're doing, how we're going about it, is not very sustainable. It's not going to last for very long. So I would love to hear from those of you that are tuning in with me live right now. Do any of these resonate with you more than others? And also maybe share with me, how long have you been trying plant-based nutrition? Has this been a really new thing for you, or have you been doing it for months and months? I would love to hear from you if you'd like to use the chat box there. I will keep going as you think about that. All right, so just so you know, today we're gonna keep it less than an hour. I really value your time as well as mine. So I'm just really briefly gonna share a little bit of my story and why I feel like this message is really important for me to share with other people. And then we're gonna dive right into 4 common mistakes that I see when I'm working with people that are plant-based, when I'm helping people go this direction. And then we're just going to flip each of those on their heads using some behavior change principles. And I'm going to give you those 4 keys to success. And then, as you might know, I am a national board certified health and wellness coach. And this is what I do. This is my work. It's my passion. And so I'm going to share a little bit with you of what I do and see if there's anything there that I could help you with. So that is the plan for today. All right. Okay, I'm seeing in the chat box that, from Jenny, that she's always known that this is what she wanted to do, but it's just been hard to sustain it with kids and husband. And I'm glad you brought that up, Jenny, because we are going to touch on that today, for sure. So yeah, stay tuned. Thank you. All right, Jen, I've mentally been trying it for a year after feeling prompted for several years, but I never got further than a meal or 2 because I feel deprived and I want comfort food. And it's an uphill battle with no one else in my house being on board. Absolutely. Yeah, that sounds really familiar. I totally get what you're saying. I love how you said that I've been mentally trying it for a year. It is a mental game, isn't it? It really is a big, big change when we want to change our entire lifestyle. And forgive me, I'm getting over a cold, so I'm going to be sipping on my herbal tea here while we go. So hopefully my voice won't give out. All right, so you both mentioned your husband and your kids, and as you can see, I am in a similar situation. This is my husband and my 4 children, and we went plant-based in 2017 at the beginning of the year. And it wasn't easy, right? It was definitely a big ordeal, but we did it. So I've been able to successfully transition us, and hopefully a little bit of my experience will be able to help you as you guys try this out. But I want to let you know that I'm also very well studied and certified in plant-based nutrition, as well as health and wellness coaching, as I mentioned. And basically the health and wellness coaching means that I have skills and training that taught me all about behavior change principles, and gave me some really amazing tools and skills that I can use with clients to help them make changes, especially to their habits. I've learned a lot about habits over the years. So, and really my mission is really to help you feel better so that you can do more of what you love and more of what you feel called to do. We all get into this health journey for a reason, and I believe that most of us do it because we realize that we're not like meeting our full potential. We're being held back by our health on one level or another. And so we want to take steps to change that and to be at our full capacity. So I love helping people accomplish that. Another thing that I do, if you're not aware, and all of you that are listening live, I know that you're somewhat local, I host a monthly whole food plant-based potluck here in Springville. Jot down that URL real quick. It's just my website, and click on the tab at the top that says local potluck. All the details are there. But I share that with you not only because I would love for you to come, because it's an amazing, amazing community that is growing there. But I just have to share with you that I've learned a lot from the people that I've met over the last, I've been doing this potluck for almost 2 years now. And the people that I've met and the stories that I've heard, and it's just been amazing, kind of like case studies really, for me to be able to kind of have a sideline view of what's working for people and what's not. And I've got to tell you, what I'm going to share with you today, these 4 keys to success, come straight out of my experience from those people's stories, as well as my certifications and my own experience. So I'm really excited to share it with you today. All right, and we've had a couple other comments in here. Kiddos have had different health problems, and all doctors have wanted us to go paleo or keto. Okay, there's definitely like some resistance to this idea, right? It's not commonly accepted knowledge that whole food plant-based is the way to go. But you're in good company here today, because I would definitely be the first to cheer you on and say, absolutely, this will help so many things. So let's talk more after if you want to share some of those specifics, and I can maybe share some details with you on that. All right, so like I said, I want to share a little bit of my story with you. This is my amazing husband, and these 2 pictures were taken about, let me think, about a year apart, okay? So this first picture was taken in May of 2017. So we had just gone plant-based 6 months prior to this, 5 months. And we look happy in this picture, but we are actually scared out of our minds because we just found out that my husband had cancer. He had stage 2 cancer, and we had already had this big trip for our anniversary, our 10th anniversary. And we decided to go anyway. So this is us in beautiful Sun River, Oregon. And in our heads, we are just reeling, and our heads are spinning with how can we keep him healthy? How can we keep him alive? And a big thing that he was concerned about, and so was I, was the damage that chemotherapy can do, right? And we already had learned so much about the power of nutrition. And he did agree, and he did get to the point that he said, okay, Danielle, teach me, and let's do this. Let's try to fight this with food. So we decided to do that on this trip, and we went home and we decided we're going to just try to kick this cancer to the curb. Well, we go home, and for about the next year, we fought this thing with food. We followed crispy cancers protocols, lots of herbs and lots of juicing, and no oil, no sugar, no meat, no dairy, all of the things, right? And my husband had come along with us on this plant-based thing since January, but he'd only maybe gone to like 75 to 80% of the way. He was still eating whatever he wanted when he was out of the house, and he was still kind of keeping his stash of not whole food plant-based snack foods in the basement. So this was a big leap for him. And there was one point where I served him the crispy cancer salad, which was basically kale and apple cider vinegar and some herbs and a bunch of other veggies and stuff. And that was supposed to be his dinner. And this guy, he's a big guy, right? He's 6'2", he's hungry, and here he is, he's eating a giant salad for dinner. And we had been doing this for a while now. And there was a point where I was in the other room, and all of a sudden I hear this slam come from the kitchen. And I turn around the corner, and it's my husband, and he has slammed his silverware down on the table, and he's basically throwing a fit that he is so sick and tired of this salad, and he just stormed out of the room. And while part of me wanted to laugh, the other part of me was aching inside, because I knew the struggle that he was having right then, because I knew how badly he wanted this to work and how badly he wanted to be healed of this cancer. And here he was eating the salad that he was absolutely miserable about. And so he's stuck, in this between a rock and a hard place. Is that the expression? So it was rough. It was really rough. So after a lot of inspiration and patience and diligence, we did muscle through that for an entire year, even to the point that the doctors said, "Oh, wow, the cancer is gone. That's amazing. That's weird. Cancer doesn't shrink without chemo." And so, of course, we go home doing the happy dance and thinking, we did it, we did it, we did it. Well, it was almost as if we had crossed a finish line. And as soon as we crossed the finish line, my husband went right back to the way he used to eat. It baffled me. It absolutely baffled me. It infuriated me a little bit too. You can imagine, all of you are wives and mothers. You can understand the pressure that I felt of trying to heal my husband with the food that I'm feeding him. That was crazy hard. But here he went right back to old habits. And the sad part of the story is that cancer came back with a vengeance at our next scan that we had. And I knew that it would. I wasn't happy about it, but I knew that it would. And, long story short, he did end up having to do chemotherapy. This picture on the right is of us literally the day before he went in for his first chemo treatment. And boy, that's a whole other story in and of itself. But what I learned from this is that no matter how motivated we are in the moment, we can always snap back to old habits. And that just became so crystal clear to me. And since then, it has really become this clarion call that I have felt, and this mission that I feel called to help as many people that are all on board with the idea of whole food plant-based nutrition, to help them do it in a sustainable way. Again, because if we do it for the short term, we're going to have the benefits for a short term. And I want to help people have the benefits for the long term. And I think that we do deserve to enjoy our food and be happy and to make this a happy part of our lifestyle. So that's why I feel so strongly about what I'm going to share with you today. I hope that makes sense. And let me just share with you another aspect of this as I was going through this with my husband, was that I saw really clearly that we were basically, the way that we had gone about it, we were ignoring principles of behavior change. And I knew that as soon as I really started studying behavior change in my national board exam for health and wellness coaching. And all of the principles that we learn about behavior change and habit change and lasting lifestyle changes could really be boiled down to this idea that anytime we stretch too far, we are asking for those changes to become temporary. It is a recipe for temporary changes to stretch further than you can bear. And, that's for each and every one of us to gauge how far that is, right? So the idea with this is we've got to figure out how to stop this all or nothing mentality, right? And like just saying, I just got to go 100%, I'm just going to muscle through it. Well, that's what we did, and this is how our story ended up. And I've seen this happen again and again. So I'm going to get right into how can we avoid this? How can we avoid this cycle of on again, off again? All right, so the main thing that I want to start out with here is these 4 common mistakes. And again, this came right out of as I'm studying, as I'm training, and I'm learning all of these principles of evidence-based behavior change. I'm seeing all of these people in the evidence-based nutrition world completely ignoring these principles. So number one, we tend to change too much too quickly. Okay, I know how tempting it is to watch Forks Over Knives or What the Health, or now Game Changers is out, which I love, and feel like you want to just go home and go cold turkey and do it overnight. That is a mistake, okay? So I'm going to tell you right now. Number two, I see people just like doing stuff because they know they need to, but it requires too much effort. It's this idea of like, it's just not realistic. So for example, like people that are like, well, I'm going to have a salad every single day for lunch. But if they have no access to that for some reason, then that's not a good focus. And maybe there's other ways or other times that we can make it more doable, more realistic. Okay. A lot of us, sometimes we get into this and we ignore where we are right now. Okay. And we just leap to where we think we need to be in order to get the results that we want. But again, that's really just stretching that rubber band. It's going to snap back at you. Number three is when we can barely tolerate the food. I love this picture here of just like looking at all these veggies and you're just sick and tired of it and you just can't stand it anymore. If we start to feel that way about our food, red flag, okay? This is a huge problem, because is it serving you? No, it's not. Even if that food is good for you, like what kind of stress levels are you creating for yourself, right? So really paying attention to how you're feeling about your food is key. And then this last one, doing it alone. Each of you shared that, you don't have support at home. It is really hard to do this alone, whether you're the only one in your family at home, or you're the only person at work, or you don't know any other living soul that you interact with on a regular basis that believes what you believe about food and that eats the way that you want to eat. It's hard. That is an uphill battle. So these are those 4 common mistakes that I see. So I'm going to help you kind of flip these around, and maybe some of these you are already aware of, but anything that you can take from this and go home and start adjusting your approach, and also adjusting maybe how you share this message with others can be really powerful too. So here's the goal, right? We want to build a whole food plant-based lifestyle that lasts. Okay, temporary is not good enough. Okay, most of us that get into plant-based nutrition aren't in this just because we want to lose a quick 10 pounds and go back to the way we want. I think most of us get into this and say, yes, I want to do this for the rest of my life. And we even have like long-term goals, right? Let's go ahead and use that chat box for a minute. What is your long game here? Like, why do you want a whole food plant-based lifestyle that lasts for the long term? Why does that matter to you? While you type that in the chat box, I'm going to share with you what mine is. So I have a whole family history of stroke, heart disease, cancer. There's no diabetes in my family, but I feel like we just about have everything. But 2 of my grandparents in particular, they did not have their minds for the last 10 years of their lives. And during that 10 years, I had my first child. And I had a very close relationship with these grandparents. But when I came to visit them, and I had my little, I think he was maybe like 15 months old at this point, and I go and visited him, and they did not know who I was. And I let them hold my baby, and they had no idea who this baby was. And that was so hard and so sad. And then when I learned about plant-based nutrition, and I learned that this is one of the best things you could do to preserve your cardiovascular system, not only for your heart, but for your brain, and the idea that, wow, if I really take good care of myself in the way that I eat, that I could preserve my mind and my body for much longer than what my genetics is apt to do. That's my why. I want to do this because I want to be around and I want to be functional for a very long time, because those family relationships are important to me. So that's my why. I would invite you, if you haven't really thought about that, if you haven't really written it down or shared that with someone, I invite you to do that, because that is a really powerful starting point when you're talking about creating this for a long-term effect. Okay, thanks for sharing in the chat box. Yeah. Same, family history, want to live long and be strong in body and mind. Absolutely. Like, we deserve that, right? As humans, we're designed for that. But our food supply is designed to undermine that health, right? Okay. And then Jen wants to lose weight, diabetes all over your family. Don't want to go down that road. Amen. Also have a child who's overweight and feel that I haven't taught my children healthy habits. Oh, that's so huge. And that's like a big passion of mine, of helping other moms figure that out. That's been a big focus of mine too. I hear you on that. Trying to help your kids create those healthy habits is huge. We're not eating the standard American diet, but too much meat and dairy and candy and treats. Yeah, all the normal stuff, right? Yeah, we can do this, guys. I really, really believe that we can. So I'm hoping that a little bit about what I share with you today is going to help you make that more possible. So thanks for sharing. Really appreciate that. Okay, inspire other men and other family members who are suffering as well. Yeah, when you really start to figure this out for yourself, it very naturally becomes something that you want to share with others, which is why I started the potluck that I do. So yes, and I have lots of tips on how to help you share this with other people effectively. We may not touch on all of that today, but let's stay in touch and make sure that that I can help you do that too. All right, so number one, here are these. I'm going to give you 4 keys to success on making this a sustainable lifestyle change for yourself and also for your family. Okay, so remember, the first mistake that I touched on is the fact that people just change too much too quickly. The antithesis of that is the solution to that, and that is we have to take small steps. And with part of that, it's a mindset shift, right? We almost need to give ourselves permission to not be perfect right away, right? It is a process, and it's okay to let it be a process. So take on this idea that, you know, I'm not going to take this huge giant leap. I'm going to take small steps focused on that end goal. Okay. It's the idea of starting where you are and taking the next step. So one of the best things that I've seen work with my clients is when we simply just assess and just take a really broad, big picture look at where are we at right now. And you know, what are we eating? What food is in the kitchen? What habits exist? And really kind of getting a clear picture on that. Now, mind you, this is with a positive mindset. This is not judgmental at all. This is just being mindful of what's going on. And to really take an inventory and then go from there. Then say, wow, okay, so we've still got the cheese in the house. I'm still eating out 2 to 3 times a week. And there's still, like, all the snack foods that our family eats is junk packaged food. Okay, so that's where we're at right now. And then maybe looking at those things and choosing one. Okay, choose one thing. Maybe it's just the eating out. Maybe it's just eliminating the cheese. Maybe it's just starting to bring some healthier snacks in and getting the unhealthy snacks out. Okay, so I hope that makes sense, that you can kind of assess where you're at and take just one step, okay? As long as you keep moving, there is nothing wrong with taking baby steps. And this is in direct contrast to what many plant-based experts will tell you. They will tell you, no, you need to do as much as possible, you need to do it perfect, you need to do it right now. Because they want you to experience the benefits of it, right? And they want you to get hooked on the benefits that you're experiencing. But we kind of have to find that balance, okay? If you really go too far, you are stretching that rubber band, it is going to snap back at you. If you are miserable while you're doing it, that is a big sign that you need to pay attention to, okay? But if you can stretch pretty far and it's like, oh, I can do this, and my family seems okay, like we're doing good, then go for it. So you get to decide which steps you take, how quickly, and how many at a time. So we've really got to kind of tailor this to you and to your family to make sure nobody gets miserable or frustrated or overwhelmed, okay? So this will really help you avoid that overwhelm that we were talking about at the very beginning. All right. Okay, and I'm seeing in the chat box that this might be the hardest thing for some of you. And Jenny shared, I'm an all or nothing girl. I am with you. That is like my personality. I am jump in head first, and I know a lot of people are that way. I have a husband that is the opposite, and that was actually something that he shared with me right off the bat. He was like, okay, if we're gonna do this, you just have to promise me that we don't do it overnight. I was like, oh, darn, like I really wanted to. But in the end, after this whole journey that I've been on and all the things that I've learned, I'm so grateful that he was there to kind of rein it in a little bit. And it is a really powerful thing, especially when you are trying to bring your family along, which is what Jenny shared there, is that you know, we can be all or nothing people, but that doesn't necessarily serve our family very well. So even if you just do it for the sake of your family, then it's worth it. Okay. Have that measured approach, and they will thank you for sure. Thanks for sharing that, Jenny. I appreciate that. Okay. Number 2. So instead of choosing your next step or your next goal to be like really out of the ordinary for you, what I invite my clients to do usually is to look for the easy wins, or I call it low-hanging fruit. I just hosted a group coaching program online. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. That was one of the biggest take-homes, that people loved practicing that and having permission to just keep looking, just keep knocking down those easy wins, keep just looking for those things that are the most natural, easiest next step. Okay. So not only do we need to take one step at a time, we need to make the steps easy. Like it's okay. There's no competition here. What this does from a behavior science standpoint, this builds your confidence in yourself to make changes. There's a fancy word for it. It's called self-efficacy. But really it just feels like confidence. It feels like momentum, right? When you can say, boom, 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 I did all of these things that I set out to do, you can finally be like, oh, I can do this. I can do this. So this is really powerful to help us avoid the failure cycle. Okay. Those of you that have kind of been on the yo-yo diet train, this is huge. And it's a huge shift to give yourself permission to take the easy wins. And the idea is to set yourself up for success. And there is no shame in that. Like, I want you to set yourself up for success when you choose what your next steps and your next goals are going to be. I hope that makes sense. Okay, and then there was a little bit more that Katie shared. I originally wanted to lose weight after yo-yo dieting for several years. I've also been very interested in nutrition and healing our bodies, and both of those drew me in. After being led to this, I see how incredibly valuable this information is for health when applied. Absolutely. So that's kind of what got you into this. Those are powerful things, and that's big picture stuff. So yeah, let's go about this in a way that's going to last. Fantastic. Okay, so the third mistake was barely tolerating your food, right? If you are miserable, then we have a problem. So really, there's a huge key to success here, and we're going to talk about this in some detail for a minute, is making your food enjoyable. Okay, there's another, well, let me share this first. First of all, when you're talking about sustainability, it's really clear that humans continue to do what they enjoy. So if we want a whole food plant-based lifestyle and we want it for the rest of our lives, why on earth would we torture ourselves with food that we hate? Okay, now, so we want to make it enjoyable, right? Okay, so I know some of us are interested in weight loss, and especially in the weight loss world, in the plant-based nutrition community, we have this fear around nuts and seeds, around avocado, coconut, those sorts of things, that breads, those things are definitely more calorie dense. Now, is it going to kill you? Are you going to be packing on the pounds if you have one serving of nuts a day? No, it's not. Is it going to kill you if you have some avocado on your salad, or if you blend an avocado and create a delicious, irresistible avocado ranch dressing and you have a giant salad with legumes and whole grains and fruits and vegetables on there for your lunch? There is nothing wrong with that. Okay, so if you found yourself in that realm of like being afraid of those more calorie dense foods at the expense of enjoying this lifestyle, I would invite you to find a middle ground. Okay, some of us tend to go too far one way or the other, right? If I say, oh no, you're not going to gain weight if you eat nuts. And if you go and have 3 or 4 servings of walnuts, almonds, cashews, pistachios, if you do that every day, you will start seeing some change in your waistline. But if we can be wise about it, be intentional about it, and do it for a purpose of like, I'm going to enjoy this and it's worth it. And oh my goodness, if you've got a delicious, if it's a vehicle that's getting the other goodness in you, then let's focus on that. And, you know, in my health coaching training, we talk a lot, not only about nutrition, we talk about all of it. We talk about stress management, we talk about sleeping, we talk about life balance, all of these things. And I got to tell you, when people are stressed out, or when they're not sleeping well, or when they're not drinking enough water, they could have a perfect whole food plant-based lifestyle and still not lose weight. Okay, so stress, if you're stressing about your food, is that going to help you release that extra weight that you're trying to let go of? I don't think so. We've got to take a look at that enjoyment factor. Okay. All right. So I'm seeing some comments. Yes, my brain can get on board with how I can really lose weight this way. Yeah. It's something I really feel really strongly about. So thank you. I definitely have felt that fear and have just been feeling what you're saying lately. Yes. Okay. So again, find your balance, right? Dr. Greger, if you've come across his Daily Dozen, one serving of nuts or seeds, and then he does suggest to have a serving of flaxseed. Now that's just 2 tablespoons, but you could even have up to a half cup of flaxseed a day, and it should not affect your waistline. Okay, but if we get more and more and more than that, then yeah, we might see some problems. Or if you're binging on bread and tortilla chips and things like that all day long, yeah, that's not really what we're going for here. But yeah, I think you guys get the idea. Awesome. Okay, I'm glad that's resonating with you. Some people get scared when I share that that idea with them, but I think it's refreshing, and I think it's important for us to give ourselves permission to use the amazing, rich, more calorie-dense foods that are available to us in the plant kingdom and use them as condiments, okay? That's really the key right there, is if you are using nuts, seeds, avocado, coconut, if you're using it as a condiment, then you can't go wrong, okay? If you're like basing a whole meal around it, that's probably starting to get a little out of hand, right? So you can find that balance point. So I'm glad that's making sense. All right, now remember the 4th mistake that we talked about is doing it alone. And I know this one's a touchy one because it doesn't always feel within our control, right? Whether we're doing it alone or not, okay? Especially if you have a spouse and children, it's tricky. Those dynamics are very real. So we're gonna dwell on this for a minute too. Okay, so the idea here, the key to success is to really be intentional about creating support for yourself. There's a variety of ways that you can do that. So we'll talk about a few of them, but let me start out with sharing this idea. There's several people, but one person in particular that's very close to me that has been a yo-yo dieter their entire life. And I have watched this cycle that they go through, that when they choose the next fad diet that they're going to go on, they announce to the world that this is what I'm doing. I am going on this diet. And they maybe share a little bit about what they are going to be eating, what they're not going to be eating. And then they proceed to make special meals for themselves. And then they prepare normal food for their family. Okay, does this sound familiar? Those of you that have either been on this train or have been around people that are. I bring this up because sometimes I see people do this with plant-based nutrition. And the difference for me is that, yeah, if you're going on like the HCG diet or you're going on the MetaFast diet, these are extreme calorie restrictions. And I would be very worried to see anyone put a child or a teenager or a healthy husband that doesn't need to lose weight on a diet like that. Okay, that would be very concerning, of course. But plant-based nutrition is not that way, is it? And if we treat plant-based nutrition like a diet, and we say, okay, well, this is my choices and this is my food, and then we keep preparing normal food for everybody else, we are missing a huge opportunity. Those of you that are listening with me live, we are all mothers and wives, and we are missing a huge opportunity if we do that. And so I want to invite you and encourage you right now that if you feel like you haven't had support, or you feel like your kids are picky eaters and there's just no way, you just like, you just don't even want to go there. I want to invite you to change that mindset and to think maybe this is possible if we go about it in this way that we've been talking about, if we take it step by step, if we make the food enjoyable, maybe we could just lovingly put our foot down, step up as, I like to think of myself as the gatekeeper of the food in my home. That's our calling. That's our stewardship. That's our prerogative, even as the wives and the mothers in the house. Like, who buys the food? Who cooks the food? We do. Okay, so as long as we ease them into it, and as long as we make it delicious, who's to say that's not a good thing? Okay, so again, we could talk way more about that another time, but I just want to kind of plant that seed that it's okay to start having conversations, really open conversations with your spouse. That's really the best place to start, and share with them what your purpose is, what your why is behind this. When I shared with my husband that I learned that, hey, if I start eating this way, maybe I won't die of a heart attack like my grandfather did, or maybe I won't have a quadruple bypass. Maybe I won't have a stroke like my grandma. Like, maybe, all these things. Like, when I share my excitement and my hope with him, he couldn't help but listen to that, right? So think about having a conversation with your significant other. And also, you can have similar conversations with your teenagers. And then if you have young children, teach them. Okay, just teach them. Say, you know what, mommy's been learning a lot about healthy eating, and I've learned that cheese and milk is it's actually not good for our bodies. And you can both kind of be like, yeah, I always thought it was good, and you can go through this journey together, rather than saying, this is my thing, and it's not for you. It doesn't have to be for you. I'm not going to force it on you. I'm just going to do my thing over here. That is such a different picture, isn't it? So there's several things in there. I go into great detail on this in my 4-week meal plan that I'll share some details with you. But in the back, I have a lot of kind of my tips in there, and I go into some detail on that. But that's kind of in a nutshell how to kind of enlist your family in this. Now, when we talk about supporting this lifestyle, we've got to look at other things too, right? Support comes in many ways. It's our family, but it's also like, what is our environment like at home? What is our environment like in our car, at work, when we're out and about? And what can we do to create a more supportive environment? Okay, you can sanitize your house. Okay, you can start saying, okay, we're going to use up the rest of these potato chips, and then I'm not going to buy them anymore. Instead, we're going to buy more, carrots and hummus, and, like making those shifts and getting the tempting food out of the house. Like I said, you can become the gatekeeper. You have permission to lovingly become the gatekeeper of what goes in the grocery cart, what comes home, what's on the table. And that's okay, especially if you take it a step at a time. All right. I think that's most of what I wanted to share with you on that. Let me know how you're feeling about that, if that resonates. And like I said, I can definitely help this along more. And so we can continue this discussion. Okay, I want to share this from Jenny. At one point in our journey, I was crazy. Like, I wouldn't even walk past the hot dogs because I thought the nitrates would jump out and get me. That's awesome. My husband said my fear of food was worse than eating a hot dog. Not that we chow down on hot dogs, but his comment made me realize how my fear was controlling me and how much power I was giving to food. I didn't think I was allowed to enjoy my food. Balance. Yes, balance, balance, balance. Thank you, Jenny. Yeah, we've got to create kind of a happiness and an ease. If you're familiar with the quote within the Latter-day Saint community of how, people will be attracted to the church, especially women will be attracted because they see women being happy, or what was it, being distinct and different in happy ways. I think this was President Kimball that shared this. I think of that when I think of being an example and enlisting my friends and family in this. If I can be distinct and different in happy ways, in the way that I'm eating, then of course they're going to want to join me, right? But if I'm miserable and scared and cranky about it, if I hate my food, if I'm feeling left out, like all of those yucky things, like if we can flip that around, how much more sustainable is this going to be, but also how much more palatable as we share it with the people that are closest to us. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I appreciate that. Okay, my friends, let's keep going here. So here they are. These are the 4 keys to success, and this is really, really powerful shifts to make. Okay, giving yourself permission to take small steps, giving yourself permission to take the easy wins, giving yourself permission to enjoy the food, and being really intentional about creating support around yourself. Okay, so I'm hoping that a little bit about what we've touched on with each of those resonates with you. I hope that you find it really helpful. I know these things have made a really, really big difference for people that I've worked with. So I'm really, really glad that you spent this afternoon with me. I want to just close and let you know that above all else, we really just have to look at this not as a diet, right? It's not a diet. It's not a circling a date on the calendar and saying, okay, tomorrow it starts. This is a process, okay? We have to put it on in layers, and that is the best way to go about it, especially since we do want this for the long term. And I love this image, right? That it's a process, it's a journey, it's going to take a while. Do you remember the last time you went on a road trip with your kids, and how long does it take before they say, are we there yet? And that's understandable, right? Like, we're human. We see what we want, and we want to just have it now, especially in this day and age. But when we're talking about something that we want to last for the long term, we do really want to just take this journey as it comes, right? So, today what I've shared with you are principles, right? These are principles of behavior change. And if I could give you like a step-by-step recipe of exactly what to eat and what to do and what to say, I would give it to you. But the thing is that each and every one of us, our road here, our journey is going to look different, because your family dynamic is different, or your work environment is different. And so we have to look at how can we personalize this to you, because that is the way to make it the most successful, right? And the most sustainable, which is really why I became a health coach. And so I want to share with you what I do and what I have that might be able to help you along your winding road here. I really like to offer support, guidance, accountability, community, education, and practical tips for people as they are navigating this health journey, not only with plant-based nutrition, but also those other pieces that we brought into the puzzle, right? Sleep, stress management. We've got to keep a holistic approach, even though we are laser focused on going to a plant-based nutrition place. So just so you know that I mentioned the meal plan that I have. This is on my website. If you click recipes at the top of danielledinkelman.com, this is a 4-week meal plan that I created with my friend Jill. And these are tried and true recipes. They are whole food, plant-based, no oil, the whole 9 yards. But let me tell you, they are our family favorites. These are our standards. So I know that so many people have just said like, oh, I just don't know what to make for my family, especially when they're trying to transition their family with them. I find that the recipes in here are really, really helpful for that because they're really familiar. Like, there's spaghetti and pizza and things that will feel really familiar, but they're healthier. So check that out if that's the kind of thing that you're looking for right now. 2 other things I want to share with you today is 2 programs that are available. So I have a monthly membership program called Plant Based and Loving It. It's brand new. I have 3 members in there right now, and all of the details are on my website. Again, just go to danielledinkelman.com, go to coaching, and go down to the membership, and you can see all the details. But I do want to share with you that the first 12 people that join, since this is kind of new, I want to kind of give you something special there. So you do get a $20 a month discount if you're one of the first 12 people in there. So that is available. And what that includes is a You get access to my entire content library with really powerful workshops similar to what we've talked about today. And you also have access to a private Facebook group where I basically coach you on your goals. I hold you accountable to your goals, and we kind of work together in a community setting as we move forward, just all there on Facebook. And then the third thing we do is we do a monthly group coaching call over Zoom, just like this, except I would have your mics and videos turned on, and we would have a really powerful discussion of what's your next step? Where are you at right now? What are you struggling with? Okay. A lot of people don't really know what coaching is like, but that's a little window into that. The main thing I want to make you aware of today is this Plant Based Lifestyle Accelerator. This is the 6-week group coaching program that I do, and I'm going to share a little more detail with you on this one today because I only open this when I have a group. And so we are actually going to begin our next round of this starting a week from today. So I'm going to tell you some more details about this, and I would invite you to stay through, hear me out, and I'm going to give you some information on how you and I could get on a phone call to really hash out kind of where you're at, because I really don't believe in a one-size-fits-all. I've tried to create some things that will offer the support that people are looking for, but I love getting to know people on an individual basis and learning really where you're at, and helping you see maybe which one of these might be best for you, or what other things I can point you in the direction of that I can support you with. So what exactly is this? This really is an opportunity to be a part of an intimate team of other people that are adopting a whole food plant-based lifestyle. You get weekly accountability inside of this program. You get guided goal setting. This is huge, 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 huge. This was one of the best parts of running this program. There's some really powerful things that I'll share with you inside of this program that will make you even more of a behavior change expert. And my favorite thing is that I'm able to help, since I keep these groups pretty small, I'm able to help you take really personalized, powerful, incremental steps along your journey, right? Because this is different for everybody. And then we're really just going to work on aiming for that low-hanging fruit together to build your confidence and to really kind of get you success after success after success, and really build that momentum, and then send you on your way and feel like you're cruising and that this is possible. You can do this. You can make these changes. So what exactly are the details here? Well, this is a small group. I only take 5 to 8 people in this group. It's all online, so you don't have to take time out of your day to travel wherever we're meeting. It's actually just all over Zoom, just like this. And we stay in touch throughout the week over text and email. It's really affordable, $297 for an entire 6-week program. And with that, you get weekly group coaching calls. And it's actually right at this time. It's on Mondays at 1 o'clock. And again, we start a week from today. And in addition to the coaching and the communication and the support you get that way, you're also going to get a little bit next level education on the behavior change piece. So I have 3 workshops in here that are so powerful. It's how to life-proof your goals, how to take charge of your habits, and how to support the changes you make. We scratched the surface of creating support, and I know that was something that each of you shared with me that is probably one of the biggest stumbling blocks for you right now. And there's like so much more I want to share with you, but I just don't have time right now. But it's all inside those workshops, which I'm super, super happy to share with people because it's super powerful. So what was this like for other people that have gone through the 6-week group coaching experience with me? I want to share with you Mandi's story. So Mandi came to me with really knowing most of the ins and outs of plant-based eating. She had gone vegan a while back, but had then discovered, going healthier with whole food plant-based. And then she just kind of like did the rubber band thing and snapped back to old habits and found that she wasn't even eating vegan anymore. And so when Mandi and I met, she was pretty frustrated with herself because it was the epitome of knowing better but not doing better. And she was just really unhappy. She has some really big weight loss goals, and she was also feeling like really defeated and just really overwhelmed with the task at hand. So Mandi was a part of our group coaching program just most recently. And what I saw with her and what she experienced was really exciting, because when we kind of brought the bar down here, for her, that was really important, because she had been living this way all in at one point, but we needed to start where we were. And so we did. And we found those just incremental steps for her. And she came back week after week. Yep, I did it. Yep, I did it. Yep, I did it. And we just kept taking those steps together. She got this momentum, and she got this like steadiness to her that was so inspiring to the other members in our group too. At the beginning of the program too, she shared that her biggest struggle was emotional eating and food addiction. But after 6 weeks, and after just really kind of chipping away at this together, she shared with me that those emotional eating things subsided and the addictions subsided. And that was in large part because of what she learned inside the Take Charge of Your Habits workshop. And then we took that and we worked together and we applied it. We put it into practice, and she found things to replace the emotional eating with. It was huge success, super exciting to see that for her. And another big thing that she experienced was this focus that kind of surprised you guys too, this idea that it's okay to enjoy your food. In fact, it's essential that we enjoy this, right? So that was big for her. And once she really got the hang of that, this whole lifestyle started becoming easier for her. So I'm still super proud of Mandi. I still stay in touch with her, and she's still going really strong with this. So I really believe that this program can help a lot of people. So the way that you can learn more about this or find out if this is a good fit for you is to just hop on a free discovery call with me. I'm going to open up some time in my schedule tomorrow. And after this class is over, those of you that are tuning in live, we can go ahead and chat and maybe even pick a time right now. But this could be a really powerful way for you to really take deliberate, personalized steps into this lifestyle that you want. So that is all I have for you today. I invite you to get on that call. For those of you that watch the recording of this webinar, I would love for you to just go over to danielledinkelman.com and click schedule free consult at the top of the page, and that will take you straight to my calendar, and you can book a time to meet with me. Now, again, I don't believe in one size fits all. So even though right now the program that I would love to, get people into and have a group to work with is this Plant Based Lifestyle Accelerator, I have other things that can help you maybe better than this, maybe a better fit. So I would love to get on the phone and share that with you, and also learn where you are and what you need. So thank you so much for spending this time with me. I hope that the keys to success that we shared will really make a big difference for you. And just let me know what else I can do to support you and make this more doable for you.